Welcome to the Institute for Business Growth and the Sales Accelerator Workshop. In this module, we're going to talk about the sales process, and we're also going to talk about who's involved in the sales process. As a reminder, please download a copy of this presentation. There's some material in here I think you'd want to review. Please download a copy of the sales process. It's in the presentation itself, but it's a separate file in the event you want to download it and use it. And lastly, there is a document that describes the players, the cast of characters involved in almost any sales process. As usual, please do any exercises at the end of the module and take and pass the quiz of this module. Even if you have to take the quiz several times, please do so. As a reminder, when you pass all the quizzes and you complete the program, we'll send you a certificate of completion. We have some very interesting problems as salespeople that we need to face. I pulled some statistics off here that I wanted to share with you because I think they're very pertinent to what we're trying to accomplish. We know that prospects are already deep into their decision-making process before they engage with you. Forrester states that 74% of the business-to-business buyers conduct more than half of their research online before they talk to you, which means they know a good deal about who you are, what you do, and your product and services. CEB suggests that there's 5.4 people involved in the average business-to-business buying decision, and we'll talk about who they are in a minute. IDC has a wonderful statistic that says 75% of the B2B buyers, B2B being business to business, now use social media to research the vendors. And I use social media when I'm researching prospects I'm calling on. I'm looking on LinkedIn. I'm looking on Facebook. I want to know who's involved, what they're doing, and what's important to them. But here's the one that we're really trying to address. Harvard Business Review states that 90% of buyers choose the sales rep that was the first one to add value and insight. And we want to be the first one to add that significant value and insight. Let me tell you a quick story. Many years ago, I was having a driveway poured. I had just bought a house and it needed a driveway. I interviewed several people and the price ranged from $10,000 to $20,000. And I bought the person in the middle because he was the only one that suggested that we run the drain under the driveway from the spouting. He also suggested if I added a few feet to the concrete, it would be easier for people to turn around and we can get some more cars in there. And he really shared with me his knowledge. And to me, that was worth a few $1,000s because it made my job a whole lot easier. And lastly, Corporate Vision suggests that 74% of people who make decisions never respond to a cold outreach. So creating value and communicating your value, especially through referral partners and to suspects/prospects, is absolutely essential. Now let's take a quick look at the sales process. We're going to explore this in a lot of detail in future lessons. But for today, the overview is very simple. We want a prospect. We know that 45% of a sales rep time should be spent in prospecting. And that comes from a book called Soft Selling from Tim Connor. Successful people, successful sales rep, spend 45% of their time prospecting. But we have to understand what a prospect is. There's 5 things I look for before I'll move somebody from a suspect to a prospect. The first thing is, do they have a need? Do they have a need that I can help them solve? The second thing is, do they have money to spend? The third thing is, am I dealing with the decision maker? The fourth thing is, are they experiencing any pain as a result of the need? And the fifth thing is, are they willing to tell me about the problems they're having? Once I understand that, I understand there's an opportunity. The next step in the process is build rapport. Rapport is the predecessor step to trust. And what rapport is designed to do is make the prospect look at you as being like him. Because it's pretty hard to dislike somebody who, in fact, looks, acts, talks like you, or talks like them. The third step in the process is we want to define the problem. What is the problem they're experiencing? How often does it occur? Why is it a problem? Who does the problem affect? All those interesting questions. Part of the challenge we have is most sales reps have a tendency to solve symptoms of the problem and not the problem itself. What we're trying to do is get to the root cause of the problem. In step 4, what we want to do is explore the impact of the problem. And step 4 is probably the most critical step in the process, and it's the step that many sales reps skip. It's where we create and communicate our value and understand the budgeting needs. So, for example, what happens if the problem's not fixed? How long has it been a problem? What have you tried to do in the past? Why didn't it work? How much is it costing you? Those are all exploration questions that help showcase that we know what we're doing. And our answer to those is where we show our value. Once we've defined the problem, we've explored the impact of the problem, what we want to do is collaborate on a solution. We want the customer very much involved in this step because if they help us build it as much as possible, they're going to be more inclined to buy it. It will be harder for them to say no. Once we build the solution, we present the solution. This is the process. This is where we're literally going in and asking for the order. Step number 7 is we confirm the order. We make sure we've got it. Step number 8 is assuring the order. And what I mean by that is we're post-selling. So let's say, for example, you're a commercial insurance rep. You've just sold a new policy to a customer. What you want to do is post-sell the customer in terms of, could anything change your mind? What are you going to tell your old sales rep that you've changed? I want to help give him words. I want to help him understand that there's going to be some pushback from the old sales rep. So that's what the assure step is all about. And then lastly, once we have the order, we've assured them, we ask for the referral. The next step in the process is understanding who the buyers are, who the players are. We have the user. These are the people that are going to use the product. They may be involved in the decision-making process. They may not. But these are the people that are going to use it. The gatekeeper is the person who controls the flow of information. We've got to make friends with the gatekeeper and not treat them as an obstacle, because when we're friends with them, they will share with us all the information that we need. We have the influencer, and though the influencer isn't a user or a decision maker or a buyer, they can only say no and they can't say yes. I have a number of clients that I help hire for, and I am not in the position to say yes, because that's the business owner's decision. But I am in the position to say no if I see some problems and opportunities. We have the decision maker. This is the person who is ultimately going to make the buying decision. And then we have the buyer. This is the person who has the formal authority to select the supplier and implement all the procedures. So one of the things I'd like you to think about is, who are you selling to? When you go into a sales meeting with anybody in particular, is it the buyer? Is it the gatekeeper, the influencer, the decision maker? Who are you talking to, and how will you conduct that meeting? In the next module, we're going to talk specifically how to prepare for a sales call and understand who's involved, understand the outcomes that we want, and also understand what questions that we need to ask to drive that outcome.